It's not that you're failing or not doing a good job in real estate. It's just that you haven't found your way yet. And there are a lot of things that people just don't talk about when it comes to getting started in real estate and building and growing your real estate business, and especially getting that momentum. So if you're tired of feeling like you're the only one going through this, or you don't really know, if what you're experiencing in real estate is normal or not, you're gonna wanna watch this episode. There's a lot of things that I had to learn on my own in real estate that I spent years trying to figure out and really just pursue, growth and figuring out the right way to do things, the wrong way to do things, learning lessons in what felt like a very lonely way. And honestly, it meant that I had to waste a lot of time. I spent a lot of time, thinking that my experience was abnormal, or that maybe this career wasn't meant for me, or that I was doing something wrong, when in reality, it's just that a lot of these things aren't talked about, and there's a lot of things that are environmental if you're not in the right environment, or you are not quite, you haven't quite found the right community around you that can lead you astray or slow down your success and your path in real estate. And that's exactly what we're covering in today's video. So if you are a new agent, or you're a real estate agent who maybe you're feeling like you're kind of in a slump or a down season, I want you to watch this video, and I'm going to give you some advice and share some of the experiences that I think are critical to know as you are going about getting started and growing your real estate business. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Braden McKee, and I've been a real estate agent for the last 8 years. I am located in Surprise, Arizona, which is a northwest suburb of Phoenix. And I love to share my experience about my real estate career, and love to talk about content and marketing strategies for real estate agents. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in learning more about, go ahead and subscribe, and you will get notified when new videos are released. Today we're talking about real estate agent advice that I think every single real estate agent should hear at least one time in their career, so that they know that they're not alone, there's nothing wrong with them, and that there is a better way for them when it comes to their real estate career. So let's dive in and just talk about some of the things that I really wish that I knew early on in my career, or as I went about my career, that are just kind of some misconceptions or just things that kind of slowed me down in the process of growing my real estate business. So, one of the things that I think is really important is to break down like the real goal of why we are doing something. And if you are like me, you may have gone through new agent training where you were pretty much told to cold call, door knock, do open houses, and to call your friends and family and past coworkers, or email them or text them, message them, whatever, and be like, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate right now? Here's the problem with that, is that it feels inauthentic in a way, because it's kind of a selfish script and it's very outdated. But one thing that I want you to know is that the real reason that we are advised as new agents to go about that is because one of your biggest goals in real estate, especially early on, is to have conversations and to meet new people and add more people to your contact list or your database. And so if you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable with, maybe cold calling or door knocking, maybe it feels inauthentic. And listen, I get it. I tried cold calling. I tried door knocking. It wasn't something that worked for me. It wasn't something that was aligned. And I did the whole, calling and texting my friends and saying, hey, I'm in real estate now. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest? But what I want you to know is that that's not the only way. And the real reason that you're being told to do this is because you need to build relationships. Everything when it comes to real estate is going to come down to your relationships and who you know, but not only who you know, but who knows you as the trusted go-to real estate agent. Whether you're doing commercial, investment real estate, residential, new construction, property management, it doesn't matter. It's all going to come down to who knows you as the go-to real estate agent for whatever their real estate needs are that is the services and the experience that you offer. And so if you are questioning if you should be cold calling or door knocking, what you really need to focus on is your goal of meeting new people, adding new contacts to your database, and having conversations. That is going to be the biggest thing that you do on a reoccurring basis, Monday through Friday, really Monday through Saturday, whatever your work schedule is, and it's going to fluctuate, right? But your schedule needs to include that focus. And one of the things that I noticed in my real estate career, and a lot of agents go through this, is called like the commission roller coaster. You have a deal and you have, momentum going, you get a commission, and then it kind of goes down, and you go through this up and down process because you get focused on growing your business and you're meeting new people and having conversations, but then you get focused once you have the clients on actually doing the real estate work. And so you focus less on, having conversations and meeting new people. And then once you're closing, you're like, oh yeah, I need to talk to more people. And then it's not this continued progressive increase. It's the up and down. So one thing that you want to have is like a daily checklist and have a goal of how many conversations you're having. Now, a conversation doesn't have to be over the phone. You could have a conversation through DM. Sometimes you can have a conversation through comments in a Facebook group or on social media. And you could be having conversations in real life. And you also want to focus on adding new people to your database. Especially if you are a new agent or you're new to an area, you want to be creating a contact list of people that you can stay in contact with about your local area and about your local area real estate activity, what's going on, new developments, what has sold, what is the market doing right now, things that they need to know about, right? And so that is really your focus. Now, the medium of how you have those conversations and meet new people is up to you to decide. I will say that if you're thinking about doing cold calling and door knocking, you're going to have to be committed to a larger number of phone calls and doors knocked than you have conversations, because not everybody's going to answer their phone and not everybody's going to answer their door. But that is certainly one way. Now, there's a lot of different ways, and I actually put together a free resource that I'm going to have. It's down in the description, but this is my little guide, and it's a 4-page guide. It has 2 full pages of ideas of what you can do for marketing and lead generation. So it looks like this, really easy for you to kind of go through by different categories and say, what kind of marketing and lead generation do I want to do in order to have more conversations and meet new people when it comes to my real estate business? That's going to be one of the most important things. And so what I want you to take away from this point, in this video is that you are definitely going to need to have the conversations and meet new people, but it doesn't have to be the way that your broker or your team leader is telling you to. If they're telling you your only option is to cold call or door knock or do 3 open houses a week, that's just one way. There are a ton of different ways in real estate, and you just need to remember that this is your goal, is to have the conversations and meet new people to add to your database. And how you go about achieving that can look vastly different from agent to agent. We're all going to have different skill sets, and we're all going to have different things that are going to work best for our personality and our interests. So the next thing that I think is really important, whether you're a new agent or you're established, is to take inventory of your surroundings when it comes to your brokerage, the people that you're networking with, and even the people in your personal life, friends and family. But one of the biggest things that I think we don't talk about is at your brokerage is the kind of support and the kind of environment that is there. Now, I think each of us are going to be drawn to different brokerages for different reasons. But one thing that I can say is that your brokerage definitely has the ability to either really lift you up or completely drag you down. And if you are in the camp right now of your brokerage is dragging you down, I want you to just consider what are the factors. For me, one of the biggest things that I have noticed with brokerages that tend to drag agents down is those brokerages tend to have some kind of negative energy or very vocal, negative things said towards or about agents, specifically how they're choosing to run their business or why they believe that agent is not going to be successful. And the one thing that I want to tell you is that you should never be in an office or a brokerage that's going to be speaking about you in that way. Whether you are like, whatever, it doesn't matter to me or not, I would say that that's just not a good environment to be in. I have personal experience with this where I stayed in my first brokerage for an entire year, and my first brokerage was very vocal about the fact that they just didn't think I was going to make it past the first year of my real estate career. They were very vocal about the fact that they thought my methods for marketing and lead generation were not going to work in this industry, and that I just didn't have the personality for real estate. And the ironic thing is that all personalities work in real estate, and all sorts of methods for marketing and lead generation work in real estate. But the bigger impact here is that I spent a full year in an environment that wasn't supporting me, encouraging me, and that I wasn't really learning the basics of this business as a brand new agent. That delayed my real start in real estate for a whole entire year because I was literally starting over when I switched to my current brokerage after that 1 year mark. Now, the other thing you need to be very aware of is the competition within brokerages. Most brokerages have leaderboards, they have, the top 10 list or top producer boards or whatever it might be. And one thing that I just want to tell you is that these really are to force competition and a lot of times to pit agents against each other. This may be somewhat controversial, but I think that this really only works and is only creating a healthy sense of competition if every agent has the same exact goals. And that's just not the case. You may want to do a certain number of transactions or hit a certain income goal, but also be able to, stay at home or be able to go to your kids', soccer games on the weekends, or be able to be the class mom for your kids' classroom. Or maybe you need to be taking care of, a family member who has medical appointments and you need to have somewhat flexible availability in the weekday to be able to attend certain doctor's appointments and whatnot, right? You may also be the agent that is okay working, 5, 10, 15 clients a year or 15 closings a year, right? And that is good enough. You are okay. That meets your goals and helps you impact the number of people in your community that you want to hit. For some of you, you may have much larger goals for your business and transaction numbers and your volume numbers, right? But the other thing that you want to consider is that you just never know what is going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. Somebody may be a top producer and their marriage is failing, or they never see their kids, or they don't have a personal life, or they don't even have time to invest into their own health. And, you just don't know. And I don't want to say that every top producer is like that, but you would be amazed at the things that you see in this industry. And I have personally struggled with, I am hitting goals and instantly I'm like, okay, what's next? It's not good enough. I'm not happy. And at the unhappiest that I was still successful in the industry by transaction numbers. I was having a really hard time, turning off my work brain and being truly present with my family, which was always my number one goal, was to be able to be there with my kids, especially when they were little, and it was like I was meeting goals within in the industry, but I still wasn't the top. And then, I wasn't happy about that, but I wasn't happy about, how stuck I was in my work focused brain all the time. So I just want to say that if you're feeling the negative effects of competition within your brokerage. The true competition in real estate should be the competition between yourself, who you are now, and who you want to become. And what that looks like in who you are, how you act, how you show up for yourself and your family, your friends, your loved ones, your personal habits, your health, and you getting better at your skills and you growing your business in a way that works for you and your lifestyle. I think deep down we all know or have heard that it's not going to matter what goals and income we achieve if we're unhappy or unfulfilled, or we hate the life that we're actually living and we are literally so tied to our business, but I think it's really true, and it's easy to get there. It's really, really easy to be in a place where you're hitting goals or you're in the competition within the brokerage, right? But you're still not happy. It's still not good enough. Or there are things happening behind the scenes that people don't know about where you're like, technically, I'm not succeeding here. Technically, I'm completely failing. So at what cost are you going to be in the brokerage competition? And so I want you to just be very, very careful about the brokerage competition and what that looks like for you and your personal goals and your family life and, your personal well-being. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of that, because that's all going to play a role in your real estate business, even if you are not consciously aware of it. And so if the brokerage competition doesn't align with your goals, it's okay to go to a different brokerage that's more collaborative, to mentally take yourself out of the running and say, that isn't what my goals are. Here's what my goals are. I'm going to focus on those. And to know that it's okay if your goals don't align with the industry standard. The industry is always going to tell you you can or cannot be something, and it always conflicts with a lot of people and what their true goals are. And so it's okay to know what your true goals are in business and in life, and to go after those and put the blinders on and to take yourself out of a negative environment and a negative community and go into a more positive and supportive one. Okay, this one is something that is kind of like near and dear to my heart. If you are new here or if you've been following along, I have my marketing membership for agents where I teach marketing strategy, content, what to post, where to post, like that kind of stuff. And one thing that I just feel like is such a misconception in the industry right now with the rise of social media and the popularity in the real estate industry is that the more followers you have means that you are making more money or earning more clients. And that's not always true. And so I just want to remind you that your follower count does not matter. In fact, usually the smaller your follower account is, the smaller your audience is, you're going to have higher conversion. And then the more that you grow, the bigger that your account gets. Technically, in that way, you end up having less conversion to like actual clients or leads or both. And so, when you're thinking about your focus for social media and your focus for marketing, I just want you to remember that you can do a lot with a smaller audience. And I have had more of a smaller audience all along when it comes to my different social media platforms and my followers. I have the most amount of followers on TikTok, which is I'm just over 4,000 as of right now. And that is what I would say least successful platform in terms of actually growing, like getting client inquiries. Although sometimes I just get random ones, like my videos resurface. That's besides the point. But it's just interesting because I feel like I see the least amount of return in terms of TikTok, but that's my biggest following, if you will. And that's not even a large following there either. And so I just want to remind you that you don't need a huge following. I mean, let's say that you have 300 people on your Instagram following right now. And let's say that you put those 300 people into a room, which technically you're not even going to be able to put 300 people into a regular size room. You're going to have to get like an auditorium or something like that. If you were actually looking at an auditorium filled with 300 people, you would be, unless you are really skilled with public speaking and you have a lot of experiences, you'd be freaking out because it's a lot of people. You'd probably be really nervous, probably palms sweating a little bit, a little shaky, a little bit, your tongue would be dry because you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm about to speak to 300 people. So I want you to remember that sometimes when it comes to social media and like the comparison game, these numbers can feel really inflated and overwhelming when we're trying to hit like 10,000 followers on Instagram, or we're trying to hit these certain goals because we see this agent over here in Tennessee, has 50,000 followers, and you're like, what the heck, And I'm not saying that that agent is doing bad, but I'm just saying that he or she may not necessarily be as successful as you think just because they have a large following. Now, some of the agents that do have a large following, they have put in the hard work, the sweat and tears to become really, really good on that platform. I always say that I don't have a huge Instagram following because I did not go all in on Instagram. In fact, my most favorite platform when it comes to social media is actually Facebook, because I'm really good at growing Facebook groups, using Facebook groups to have conversations, get leads, and grow my email list. And so for me, I didn't go all in on Instagram because it just wasn't my preferred number one platform. I was seeing more traction, and that I was able to have almost daily conversations with people about my local area and about real estate through the comment section and through DM conversation through Facebook. And I also am somebody who doesn't want to go all in on social media because I want to own my audience. If my platform gets shut down, if I have a hacker come in and steal my account or something like that, you may be thinking that's crazy, but it's just not. I've seen it happen time and time again inside the real estate industry and outside of the real estate industry. And you don't have to have a huge following to be a victim of your account getting shut down or getting your account hacked and stolen. So with that, I just want to say that it's okay if you have a smaller follower account. It's also okay if you have a goal of growing your audience. I think that's totally fine, and you just have to understand that just because somebody else that you're seeing on social media has a large audience doesn't mean that you're unsuccessful or that you're failing or that they are somehow automatically successful just because they have a large following. I'd rather have a smaller following, have more conversations, better conversations, and be making more money than have a large following and not able to convert. So you want to get really good at having conversations, creating connections, and figuring out what it is that your people want, knowing their language, their concerns, their dreams, their goals before you start growing that audience. Because if you have a bunch of followers and they're really disconnected from your message, what it is that you're offering, that's actually going to be really hard for your account to create traction and actually generate leads and real estate business for you. So that is just my reminder to you, is that follower count does not matter when it comes to generating real estate leads. And sometimes, ironically enough, you can generate leads from your content, from your social media platforms, and they may actually not even be following you in the first place. Or sometimes I've had clients who reach out to me on social media, but then I see after we close the deal or after they officially become a client, then they actually start following me on social media, and they don't actually follow until we've like sealed the deal kind of thing. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because comparison is so real, it's so strong, and I don't ever want you to be burdened by this comparison and like negative self-doubt because you're seeing other agents that have these huge followings and you're thinking that you're needing to catch up to them, that they're making a ton of money and this is why your business is not, or any of those kinds of thoughts that creep in when it comes to social media. Okay, so the last thing for this video, if you are a new agent or you're newer, or maybe you have relocated to a new market and now you are kind of starting over from ground zero and you're like, gosh, what do I even need to do? I have no network really here. I need to start generating business. Okay, I'm working on a resource that's going to be launching Black Friday. I'm going to link below in the description to get on the VIP list. But one thing that I think is really hard in this industry is managing having certain things that you need to do, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly in your business, or bi-yearly maybe, with the flexibility of things that come up. And so that's why for a lot of agents, having a set like day-to-day time block working schedule doesn't always make sense. Because there's going to be times where you're going to have appointments come up and things that happen, or you're going to need flexibility, right? Day to day, it's not always going to look the same every single day. Your clients are going to have scheduling needs and availability for houses sometimes that don't quite align with that perfect schedule. So what I have found to work for me is having basically a checklist of like the things that I have to get done today and this week, right? And having time blocks within the day that are designated towards those specific checklist items, and then having the other time blocks be for those appointments and things. And that way, if let's say, something has to get moved, where ideally I'm doing showings in the afternoons, but maybe my showings got moved to the morning, I could, rearrange those blocks and say, okay, I'm doing my showings and appointments in the morning today, and then in the afternoon, I'm going to have this chunk of time that's going to be designated to, these 3 checklist items. So just know that you're going to have to kind of find the flow, but I am working essentially on these checklists and what you need to focus on, especially as a newer agent, to kind of get that momentum and traction going on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis for your business. And that way you can decide, what things you want to focus on, but the pillar of like what you're actually doing and the way you want to build your business, there's still flexibility built on that. Because I know for me, just the typical like new agent training advice just didn't quite work, but I still wasn't left with like, hey, what do I actually need to be doing day to day in my business? It took me a couple of years to kind of figure out what I should be focusing on. And that's why I'm going to take out that mystery and that time gap of you trying to figure it out and give you checklists of things that you should be focusing on and the goals that you should be focusing on that are your activity versus on the outcome. Because what you can't control is the outcome. What you can control is your input. And so if you're looking for resources and help with that, join the VIP list in the link below, and I'm going to send you the information for that resource when it gets released for Black Friday, which I'm super, super excited about. But just know that the biggest things you're going to be focusing on as a new agent are meeting new people, getting their contact information, and having conversations on pretty much a daily basis in your real estate business. The biggest thing that I hope you took away from this video is that you are not alone in this industry, and there's not just one path to success. And there's a lot more that we are working on, each of us individually, behind the scenes, that isn't really talked about or shown necessarily publicly or front facing when it comes to this industry. My goal is to connect agents to help you to become a better agent, but also a better person, a person that you like and love and take care of, and that you would feel that you have a greater purpose that isn't just closing a deal, but that you're going to have impact in your community and that you are making a difference. Now, if you want more tactical tips on like things that I wish I knew as a new agent, I want you to go watch this next video. This is the 10 things that I tell every single new agent and that I wish that I would have known, that were literally huge mistakes, some of them that I made in the beginning of the business that just really held me back and slowed my momentum. I would say by like 3 years, I could have had a lot more momentum if I had some of these things started and in place right at the beginning of my career. So these would be the 10 things that I would tell you, do not make these mistakes and focus on these 10 things as a new agent. So go watch that video and I will see you over there.